Welcome to Review Set Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
I'm Blair.
Blair, how are you?
I'm doing okay, man. Surviving. You and me are in a cold snap right now.
Yeah, it is ugly. We've had a good winter so far.
Very lucky so far.
Nice and warm, and then this week hit. And Blair, as of yesterday, we are officially living in the 11th coldest place in the world.
That's wild, man.
The 10 before us are also in our beautiful country of Canada.
Are they?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We're colder than Antarctica, then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the other day we were quite a bit quite a bit colder than the South Pole.
That's wild, man.
And quite a bit colder than Siberia. So we did it. Both you and I and the rest of, the people living in our province just got an emergency text message from the government saying that there could be and will probably be intermittent power outages.
I know.
So,
of course, our power grid's not doing too well with this cold.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What are we going to do, right? Priority one is getting this new episode out.
Yes, that's right.
Power's on full force. Oh goodness. Today we're nice and warm inside and excited to talk about our second movie of 2024. But before we do that, what do you say we chat a little bit about some horror news? Blairski, you have any horror news?
I got a couple pieces here. So first off, I'm going to start off with some sad news. Sad news to share, as the star of the hit South Korean film Parasite, Sun Kin, I believe is how you pronounce it, was found dead earlier last week amidst allegations of some drug problems he was having.
That's so unfortunate.
Great movie, Parasite. Such a good movie.
Loved it. Super bizarre. Fantastic. I was going to say sleeper hit, but it won the Academy Award for Best Picture, which
it did. Yeah.
For any film is a difficult and amazing feat, but especially for a foreign film to come and win that award, that's massive. And it was a great film. So really sad news.
Yes. Very sad news. Us at Reviews the Scare. Salute you.
Yes, we do.
Last piece of horror news. We already have talked about the problems Screen 7 is having with the loss of Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, as well as the director dropping out of production. It now looks like the same is happening with the second film in the new Exorcist trilogy, as David Gordon Green has officially exited production and Universal Studios has officially put a halt on it, taking it off their release timeline altogether for now.
Yeah, you know what? I had this on my notes as well, and I was a little bit shocked. But at the same time, looking at the Halloween franchise and kind of seeing how the fans look at that franchise, and not only that, but seeing how much money that the Exorcist Believer lost. Yeah. I have some numbers here. So it had a budget of $400 million.
Fucking 400 mil.
Unreal. And
it's wild.
It made a total of $136 million back. So that is a huge hit to Universal and Blumhouse. So not completely surprised. I don't know if it was mutual, if he just stepped down, or if he was maybe asked or told that he would not be returning. But I'm not entirely surprised. And,
no, I'm not.
I'm pretty excited to see who they get with a director or for a director and what they'll make of part 2, Deceiver.
Yeah, it'll be a fresh take, if anything, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Apparently, they are looking for, as we said, new directors. So if you think you're qualified, please send your updated resumes to I'd like to direct the newest installment in the Exorcist franchise at hotmail.org.
Does that just go directly to you or what?
Yes, it does. Oh, goodness. I've got a couple other pieces here. It was reported earlier this week that the newest installment in the Ghostbusters franchise, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which was set to release in theaters on March 29th, 2024, will now release a little bit earlier.
Right on.
New release date on this one, March 22nd, 2024. it is kind of a refreshing. We've seen so much right now with the writer's strike, with the actor's strike. So many projects have been delayed. So this one is kind of surprising that they're actually pushing it forward.
Yeah.
But it also seems like a movie that they've been working on for quite some time.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then finally, it's official, Blairski. Energy drinks have just gotten a whole lot scarier, courtesy of G Fuel, as their newest Nightmare on Elm Street energy drink, aka G Fuel Dream Demon,
Okay.
is officially out for sale.
It's going to make you not sleep, I'm guessing.
No, you'll have restless leg syndrome all night long for how much sugar is in those things.
Oh, man.
Oh, goodness. Stay safe out there while consuming your energy drinks, folks.
I'm not a big energy drink guy myself, to be honest with you. I do like a coffee, though.
Absolutely. And you know what? These ones, the G-Force, this is no endorsement, but the case they come in does look really, really cool.
I could imagine.
And to my understanding, each can will have like a different scene
Okay.
from the franchise. I could be wrong, but I could have sworn that's what I read. Kind of neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's all I have for horror news. What do you say we jump into episode 2 of 2024? The long awaited. We've talked about this one in numerous episodes before.
Yeah.
This one, it's exciting. This one was filmed in the town that we're both living in. It's 2022 Skinamarink. Runtime on this one, 1 hour, 40 minutes. Blairski, initial thoughts on this runtime?
The runtime's good. I feel like the movie could have been cut some. I feel like it is a little long, but a decent runtime for a movie.
Yeah, it's kind of right in the sweet spot, but we'll get into it in likes and dislikes, I'm sure. It maybe feels a bit long and bizarre.
Mhm.
But before we get into likes and dislikes, what do you say we talk a little bit about some fun facts on this one? Do you have any fun facts for Skinamarink?
I do, man. I do. So this movie was shot over 7 days on a $15,000 budget in
Wow.
writer-director Kyle Edward Ball's childhood home in the city we live in, Edmonton, Alberta, which is super cool.
Yeah, and also the 11th coldest place in the world.
That was as of you said 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's way colder tonight. So I'm curious to see where we're sitting at tonight, man.
Oh goodness.
With
What else you
wind
got?
chill minus 60.
Gross.
That's disgusting.
Gross. Anyways, shot in Kyle Edward Ball's childhood home.
Childhood home in
7
Edmonton,
days,
Alberta.
$15,000. Yeah.
Pretty
What
awesome.
else you got?
On that $15,000 budget, the film made back more than $2.1 million in the box office alone.
Congratulations.
Right
That is
on.
just unreal.
Right.
I remember
on.
when that had been announced, when it made like its first $1 million. Both you and I were pretty excited about it. I think we mentioned it on the pod, but what a huge feat for them.
Right?
Yeah.
Total opposite of what The Exorcist Believer did.
Oh God.
In a statement made by Kyle Edward Ball about the making of this film, he recalls having a nightmare when he was little, where he was home, but his parents were missing, and there was a monster lurking in the hallways around his house. And I'm thinking this movie is basically that dream in a nutshell. Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we'll get into it, I'm sure, in likes and dislikes, but it's a terrifying thought when you're a kid or even when you're grown, is to be in an empty house and your parents not being, anywhere to be found.
And you don't know where they are.
No note. They didn't call. Yeah. Oh, goodness. Any more fun facts, Blairski?
Man, I got one more. Apparently, significant portions of the lighting used in this film was provided only by the television that they use in the movie. And also, most of the equipment used to make the movie was sponsored by the Film and Video Arts Society of Alberta, which is also pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, also known as FAVA, which is now in the building that I went to college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a pretty cool space. I've got one fun fact here. Due to a glitch during one of the online film festival screenings of the film, it was able to be downloaded and uploaded online, where it almost immediately went viral on TikTok and Twitter. Unreal, unbelievable. How cool is that?
I read that Kyle Ball was pretty upset that it got leaked, but he was also very happy with the reaction it was getting. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious if the movie would have gotten as much hype if it wasn't leaked.
Hmm.
Who knows? We'll never know now.
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the fine folks that worked on this one, starting off with local, directed by Kyle Edward Ball, also directed the 2020 short film Heck, which was a proof of concept short that went on to become Skinamarink.
Yeah.
To my understanding, you can go and watch Heck on YouTube, and it's a little bit clearer what's going on. Oh goodness, yeah. This one written by Kyle Edward Ball, of course, and then starring. We don't have a massive cast in this one.
No.
Lucas Paul as Kevin. I believe this is his first acting debut. In the movie. He's 4 years old, and yeah, I assume that the Lucas Paul, the actor, is also of similar age.
I would imagine so. All the acting in this movie was great, even though you don't really see
a
much.
whole lot of it. Or again, we'll get into it in likes and dislikes. There's this, bizarre. Also starring Dali Rose Tetrule as Kaylee. Also starred in the upcoming TV movie My Name Was Peter.
Yeah,
and we have Ross Paul as Dad. Now, Ross Paul, to my understanding, is the real life father of Lucas Paul, who played Kevin. Yeah,
makes sense.
Cool. Yeah. He also starred in 2011's TV miniseries Moby Dick and directed the music video for Ashley Rejects' song Shameless. And then finally, starring Jamie Hill as Mom, also starred in 2023's Markings of Murder, 2022's Grotesque, 2022's I'm Haunted, and in the 2021 short Boneyard Racers, just to name a few. Quite a big resume for Jamie Hill. Synopsis for 2022's Skinamarink, courtesy of our dear friends at IMDb. 2 children wake up in the middle of the night to find their father is missing, and all the windows and doors in their home have vanished. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't explain much, but yeah.
That's pretty much it. This leads to one of our favorite segments, Kill Count.
Kill Count. The time of the show we count the kills.
Blairski, do we have a kill count for 2022's Skinamarink? Maybe.
Bro, that's exactly what I wrote. I wrote NA, not applicable.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of periods, and I wrote maybe with a question mark. Maybe.
Yeah, we don't know. I think this is a good segue into likes and dislikes, the portion of the show where we chat about what we liked, what we didn't like, and everything in between. I would say the reason you put NA/we don't know is because there's a lot of things about this movie that we don't know what is going on. This was my first viewing. You've seen this twice.
Yeah.
And I told you today, watched it, liked it, don't know what's going on. And you responded with, I've watched it for the second time, and yeah.
Still don't know what's going on. If I was to ask you, though, what do you think is going on in that movie?
So to my understanding, and I've read into it a little bit, but my guess, it was kind of, so it's mentioned that Kevin has fallen down the stairs.
Yes. By
the father. He mentions it over the phone to, I can only assume, is the wife on the other end. But he mentions that Kevin has fallen down the stairs. So kind of one of the theories that I read online that I really liked is the character Kevin is in a coma.
Yeah, I read that too.
And so there's a section at the end of the movie where it comes up and says 572 days.
Yeah.
So I kind of like the idea that Kevin has been in a coma for 572 days.
And all this is just in his head.
It's just in his head. So, or outside, or whenever you hear the dad or the mom or the sister Kaylee, it's them in the hospital room trying to talk to Kevin, and he's kind of hearing them from a distance and doesn't really know what's going on, where everyone is. And then, of course, towards the end, everyone kind of disappears except for Kevin. So I don't know if they just stopped coming to visit him or what was going on there. What is your initial thought? What do you think is going on in this movie?
It's roughly the same as that. I feel like, at the end, there's that distorted image of that woman telling Kevin to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Right? I almost think that might be his mom. He's finally maybe coming to after 572 days in a coma.
Yeah.
And that's kind of his vision at this point. And it's his mom telling him just to rest and go back to sleep.
Rest and go back to, okay.
So I kind of do agree with that. But at the same time, you've got demons and monsters and yeah, it's tough. And it's tough to really know what's going on in that movie.
Honestly, it is. I think I can speak for us both when I say it's unlike anything we've ever watched before.
Yes.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know yet. I watched it this morning and I'm still trying to process the whole thing.
Yeah.
To me, it gave off like a really like art house film vibe, which sometimes art films aren't the most accessible movies.
Yeah.
They're made for a very niche group, a niche crowd, and it's kind of fighting against the mainstream movie companies, productions, things like that. But I just get this art house vibe. It's got repetitive imagery, and like I said, it's made for a very niche crowd. So we had mentioned it before. Either you really like it or you don't like it. There's no in between.
Yeah, yeah. What did you think about the sound used in it, or in some scenes, lack thereof sound used in it?
Yeah, I honestly, it's so weird because I think I comment on sound on music in most of the movies that we review. And I would say a lot of the soundtrack or a lot of the sound is coming off the TV.
Yeah.
Whether it being static or whether it being the audio from vintage cartoons. I thought it was cool. I don't know. Yeah, I everything in this movie is just bizarre.
Yeah, I feel like with the sound in particular, the best use made of it is they chose really good the scenes to cut it out completely, and the scenes to have actually something in it. So I feel like the sound to me played a huge part for me anyway, in the scariness of the movie.
100%, especially when, although the dialogue is few and far between.
Very far between, yeah.
I mean, at the beginning of the movie, it's quite audible. You can hear exactly what's going on. But by the end of it, everything, not only the audio, but the imagery, everything is super distorted and twisted.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is literally upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally, man.
I mean, to answer your question, the sound, the music, it definitely did add to the uneasiness of the movie. It definitely helped with making me feel unsettled. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. And I do like how in a lot of the scenes that did have dialogue, they had automatic closed captioning.
Yeah.
Like you didn't need to put it on. It was automatic closed captioning. So even though you couldn't fully hear what the voices was saying, sometimes you could read it still, so you knew what was happening in that.
Yeah,
in that aspect.
most of the time, and I guess they wanted you to know that the dialogue, although difficult to hear, was still very important. Yeah, few and far between. Now this one, and you told me this on numerous occasions, where it's a slow burn.
Yeah,
it's a slow burn.
Yeah.
Did this movie grab you the minute it started, or did it take a while to get into it for you?
It takes a bit to get into. Both times it took a bit to get into. Second time was a little easier because I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
But it is definitely, I could see a lot of people turning this movie on for the first time and not getting past the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I can see that happening, right? It's definitely a slow burn. But to me, it's once I got into it, I was into it. I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to turn it off, leave my couch.
Yeah.
I was right into it.
I'm happy to hear that because it was not that easy for me.
No.
And I'm really glad that we are reviewing it because it did force me to sit down and fight
Watch
through
it.
it. And
Yeah.
honestly, this movie is an hour and 40 minutes, and I timestamped it. I did not get into it until minute 41.
Mm-hmm.
So, almost half of the movie had already gone past. But the scene that did it for me was it was the scene with Kaylee and the dad and the mom in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And the dad is telling her to look under the bed. And it immediately, and up until that point, I'm going to say it, my hot take, I had rolled my eyes a couple of times.
Yeah.
I felt like it was coming off as a little bit pretentious, but that was on me. I didn't get it. I still don't get it, but
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I was getting annoyed at the movie because I didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I was asking too many questions without just letting it play out.
Yes.
And that scene with in minute 41 was the first part of the movie where I don't know if I was scared, but I immediately, everything else around me tuned out and I zoned in because I was like, oh, something's happening here.
That's to me it's to me that scene scared the crap out of me. They as I said earlier, when you gave the time of the hour and 40 minutes for the movie, and I said they could have cut it, I feel like this would be an amazing 1 hour long movie. So with you not getting into it until 41 minutes in, that would cut it at about a 1 hour long movie. And I feel like that would be the perfect time for something like this. But that whole scene with Kaylee sitting in the bedroom and that figure, her dad, I guess, telling her to look under the bed.
Yeah.
Oh man. It also, when I watched it, like you watched it this morning with your wife.
Yeah.
I watched it alone in the middle of the night in my basement with all the lights off. It definitely fucked with me a little bit.
So I definitely did, turn off the lights and turn it up loud as you recommended.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, if I was to watch it in the middle of the night, I would have gotten a different reaction. It might not have been a crazy different reaction, but a different reaction. And I think it definitely would have added. It was just bizarre. And the whole idea in that scene where you can't see anything, either the mother has her back turned to Kaylee or the father, he's sitting on the bed and you can only see his legs. And you just know, like, she doesn't seem overly, she's not questioning it.
No.
She doesn't seem overly concerned, but there's just something off.
Yeah.
There's just something not right about the father and the mom. There's just something off in the situation.
Well, why would your father tell you to look under the bed? You know what I mean?
It's just bizarre. It does feel like a dream. Like everything is it's slightly distorted.
Yeah.
So you got the image, you got the sound, like everything, the situation, everything's just slightly off, which, I mean, it makes it super creepy.
Jump scares. Did you get hit with any?
I didn't. And This is a thing. So you had commented that this was a scary film for you.
Yes, it is.
And I didn't get, I was definitely unsettled and I was definitely, there was a lot of suspense.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as being like genuinely scared or traditionally scared, I just didn't get it.
It's fair. That's fair. You're not alone with that.
I mean, I think in general, I think this movie, because it is unsettling and it makes you feel suspension. It's scary in that way. But what made it so scary for you?
Well, that the suspense, the what ifs, the not knowing, and the thought of all this really happening. Plus the fact they're two young kids, right, going through all this. But I also, man, I got hit with a lot of jump scares. Probably the worst being when that stupid fucking telephone rang.
Yeah.
With like the eyes, that phone, it made me jump, man, because I had my sound so loud down here.
The Fisher Price phone.
Yeah, man. Holy crap. That got me big time, man. There's a lot of random sudden sounds.
Yeah.
Whether it's the phone ringing or there's sometimes just like a loud screech, it sounds like, or something like that.
Yeah.
And when you're already just kind of invested in the movie and zoned out on it, and those things pop up with your volume maxed, it fucking got me, man.
It's so weird. Sound does play a part of this, especially because the movie is so dark.
Yeah, very dark.
There's sometimes not only dark, but a lot of the images, it's repetitive. So if you see something off, again, the distortion, if you see something off, it adds to the suspense. But I can definitely see where the sound plays such a big part because so much of the movie is dark. So you're not really looking at anything.
No.
So your other senses start to, key in on certain things. So if you got that volume cranked, you're going to get a jump scare.
Especially when so much of the movie is silent. So like that phone scene, for example, I'm staring at a fucking kid's toy phone, complete silence in the movie. And all of a sudden it starts ringing so freaking loud.
Yeah.
And you're staring at that phone silently for a good minute, right? Because they show scenes for so long, like the same thing for so long.
Yeah.
You kind of wonder, sometimes too long, I'm going to be fair, but you kind of wonder, like, is something fucking crazy going to happen? And in that instance, it really did. And it got me, man. Got me good.
I was really annoyed at the beginning with, like you said, they just kept showing doorways or the ceiling or walls. And it was just like, okay, get on with it. I get it. But I think the reason they did it was you get so familiar with the house, you get so familiar with the walls, with the ceiling, with the doorways, that the minute that they start changing,
you notice,
or the minute they're different, it's like, wait a minute, something's off. That wasn't like that, which is pretty cool. Super annoying for the first 40 minutes when it was hardly any dialogue. There's no actors, and it's just like I'm really just, and that's where kind of the art house vibe comes in, where it's like I'm watching a movie where it's just sound and a wall.
Yeah,
it's like, is this, am I getting pranked here or something? But it has a purpose.
I do have some dislikes written down, and two of them right here are from what you just said. So it comes down to the movie is just being too long. It's just too long of a movie. And there is too much nothingness.
Yeah.
There's just too much of it. I get wanting to show those shots, but to just stay on that shot for a couple minutes, like,
we get it.
We get it, right?
Get it. Yeah.
Also, just like, didn't know what the fuck was going on. I still don't. No clue.
I still don't. Yeah.
And as much as I do like what they're trying to do with the darkness and the atmosphere of the movie, I found some scenes just too dark. Too dark. I couldn't see anything. Other than that, though, man, I don't really have many dislikes on this movie. I do have those things, big things for sure, and I can see why this movie is so controversial with horror fans on whether it's good or not. I totally get it.
Or just movie fans in general. I mean, I'm going to add to dislikes where it's just like this movie isn't overly accessible.
No, it's on Shudder.
Which, I mean, it's not, and it's nobody's fault that it's not entirely accessible. It's just it is bizarre. It is bizarre, and it'll leave you with more questions than answers.
Oh yeah, 100%. The first thing I did was Google after the movie what happened in Skinamarink.
And you'll get a million different this is what happened.
Yeah.
But I even wrote down here, it is so hard to explain why I like this movie, but it's just as hard to explain why I didn't like this movie. There's so much that I don't know what's going on, that I don't know.
It's not your typical movie at all. It's unique. I definitely haven't seen anything about it or anything like it before. Very unique, very unique. And I think I do like that aspect of it. It's not your traditional movie where you have a full cast and dialogue and a big plot. It's a whole movie of what the fuck is going on, which a part of me loves that. And a part of me also hates that.
Yeah, I hear you. I agree. It is super unique. It's not something that we've ever seen again or seen before, and possibly will never see again. Skinamarink, if nothing else, is one of a kind.
Yeah.
I want to put final thoughts on likes and dislikes, if you're okay with that.
I'm cool with it, buddy.
My final thoughts: confused, frustrated, intrigued, and impressed.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
They
Well said.
impressed me with how confused they made me. Oh, goodness. What do you say we move right along? Let's move into one of our favorite segments of the show, lessons we learned from watching 2022's Skinamarink.
Lessons we learned from watching. Insert title of movie here.
The portion of the show where we chat about the valuable life lessons we learned from watching said movie. Blairski, did you learn anything from Skinamarink?
Just a couple things. If you're alone in a house, you don't know where your parents are, and you hear voices talking to you, telling you to go places, i.e. the upstairs or the basement, do not follow the voices.
Don't.
do not go wherever those voices are telling you to go. Don't go. My final lesson I learned: Lego. As much as it's fun and an intriguing toy to play with, it is definitely a tripping hazard. So make sure you clean up after yourself.
Clean up your mess.
Yes.
I've got a couple here. Teach your kids how to phone 911.
Yeah.
It might come in handy if they put a knife in their eye.
Yeah, fuck. Unbelievable, that scene, man.
Yeah, I've got another one here. If your name is Kevin, you are statistically more likely to be forgotten and left home alone by your parents.
Is that true? Oh, yeah, Home Alone.
A little Home Alone joke for all you Kevin McAllister fans out there.
I love it.
Then finally, the last thing I learned was watch all kinds of movies. It might not be your cup of tea, and you might not understand it, and you might have more questions than answers, but you might be surprised.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Watch everything, read everything, make up your own mind.
Don't be a closed door.
Don't be a closed door. Absolutely not.
Nope.
Open book, open book. Okay, this leads to our next segment / category, one of our favorites, Line of the Night.
Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night.
The portion of the show where we discuss our favorite lines from the movie. They might give us chills. They might give us the giggles. All we know is that they are our favorites. Blairski, the dialogue in this one is short and sweet. Do you have any favorite lines of the night?
I surprisingly have a lot written here because the dialogue is so short and sweet. I just wanted to have a lot to choose from.
Absolutely.
But I'm going with a few here. We'll look under the bed.
Yep.
Said by the dad figure in the bedroom to Kaylee.
Yep.
Another voice, come to the basement. Said to Kevin this time by another demonic voice.
Yeah.
I want to play, said by the same voice.
Yeah.
And the final line of the night I'm going to use is put the knife in your eye.
Oof.
Said by the demonic voice to the child, and he does it. He does just that.
Yeah, I've got a lot from that. Those unknown voices. I put unknown demonic voice / Skinamarink.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I was just calling that voice Skinamarink. So I've got a couple here to add on to your great lines. The first one, unknown voice Skinamarink says, Kaylee didn't do as she was told. She said she wanted her mom and dad, so I took her mouth away.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
Yeah.
This one said to Kevin while on the phone with 911, he says, I'm downstairs, but the doors is gone.
Yeah. It's a
Creepy.
trip, man.
Oh, and it's so, it's tough to listen to. You got this 4-year-old on the phone with 911 after we don't see anything, but after he's put an X-Acto knife in his eye.
We see a bit of blood, like kind of spot on the floor or the wall or something, but
yeah. What do we have here? Unknown voice / Skinamarink says, I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mom says, there's someone here, followed by the sounds of cracking bones.
Yeah, that's a trip, man. That was that bedroom scene again.
Man, for how few lines there are in this movie and for how much sense they make, pretty good lines.
Yeah, man, they are. They're very uncomfortable lines.
The dialogue,
uneasy.
Dialogue added to the bizarreness of this movie. Okay, this leads to our final segment of the show, our favorite segment of the
Our
show,
favorite.
Celebrity Lookalike Time.
Celebrity lookalike time.
The time of the show where we take a look at the cast and discuss their celebrity doppelgangers. Spoiler alert, it usually comes down to the character's hairstyle. Blairski, this is the first time this has ever happened in
Not
Review Set
applicable.
Scare.
Not applicable.
Not applicable. There is not a single celebrity lookalike in this movie
Nope.
because you don't see anyone in this movie.
Nope. You see feet.
You see
You
the
see
back-
distorted faces.
Distorted faces, the backs of people. Disappointing for the pod because we love doing celebrity lookalike so much.
It's our favorite segment for a reason.
I can't believe this. I mean, I was shocked when we had an NA for kill count, but a double shock when we had an NA for celebrity lookalike time. Wild. Absolutely wild.
If anything is going to win some awards come the end of the year.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. Lowest celebrity lookalike time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, with that out of the way, what do you say we give 2022 Skinamarink a final rating?
Let's do
Blairski, out of 5 bizarro childhood homes, fully stocked with Lego, vintage cartoons, creepy voices, and no exterior doors, where everything is upside down and staticky, what do you give Skinamarink out of 5?
That was so good, man. That was
Hey,
so good.
thanks.
Okay, so my first watch of this, I really liked it. I did really like it, and I thought it was scary.
Yeah.
My second watch of it, I still enjoyed it just as much, if not actually more than my first watch.
Yeah.
And to me, Jesse, it is one of, if not the scariest movies I've ever seen.
Wow.
So, and it's wild because obviously we watch a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
This movie just did something for me. I'm actually going to be giving it 3.5 bizarro childhood homes, fully stocked with Lego, vintage cartoons, creepy voices, and no exterior doors, where everything is upside down and staticky, out of 5.
Good review, good rating, and super glad to hear that it's one of the scariest movies you've seen all time. That's great.
Mhm.
From, that coming from a horror fan, that means something.
Oh, 100%, man.
I'm going to shoot a little bit lower. The minute after, we said you either really like it or you really don't like it. I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to give it 3 bizarro childhood homes, fully stocked with Lego, vintage cartoons, creepy voices, and no exterior doors, where everything is upside down and staticky, out of 5. Blairski, this movie is bizarre.
It is.
I don't want to watch it again, but I'm going to have to watch it again.
Give it some time. Give it some time.
Maybe get some better understanding. This was a movie that I wasn't necessarily dreading to watch, but I had put it off for a while. Just
until I
because-
forced you to watch it.
Yeah, I had, everyone was, again, saying they either loved it or hated it, and I was reading too much into it.
Yeah.
So going back to a lesson we learned, watch all kind of movies, be an open book, and watch it. You never know, you might be surprised. We did it.
We did it, buddy. Skinamarink.
Oh goodness. I'm excited for the rest of the month. We got 2 more episodes here.
Yeah.
Folks, remember to stay warm. It is
Yes.
getting cold out there. But from Review Set Scare with Jess and Blair, I'm Jess.
I'm Blair. Remember to stay scary.
And eat every sandwich. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to Review Set Scare. Make sure you check out our Linktree at linktree/Review Set Scare. That's linktr.ee/Review Set Scare, which has links to our Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, and many other things. If you'd like to email us, you can reach us at reviewsetscare@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and remember to stay scary and eat every sandwich. A proud member of Pod Nation TV.